Only 28% of Americans want the sitting president to run for re-election, and fewer than half of Democrats. This is a disaster.
New NBC News poll suggests Mr. Biden does need a reset because he's lost his identity a bit.
No one believes we're in a better spot now. Feel those emotions, go to a kickboxing class, have a margarita, do whatever you need to do this weekend.
The wall of protection surrounding the Biden administration provided by the media is crumbling, and it's crumbling fast. We've got an interesting show. We brought a lot of different clips together from around the media over the weekend to show you what's going on with the Biden administration. It's going to be really interesting. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from a dingy bunker completely cut off from the outside world except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live on today. It is January 23rd, the year of our Lord 2022. It's taken about a year, but over the weekend, I think we had the biggest shift in the media's coverage of the president's administration that we've had since he got into office, which is fascinating. On the year anniversary of Joe Biden being inaugurated into the presidency in the White House, the media has decided to jump ship. Got an interesting show today, and how I wanted to do this is kind of just take a bunch of clips from CNN, from Face the Nation, from CBS, all over the place about how quickly the media is diving for cover to protect themselves against the poll drop that the Biden administration is having. I want to get to this first, though. So this is earlier over the weekend. This is on CNN, a WAPO writer who works for the Washington Post, trying to defend the Biden administration. Now, I want to show us a couple clips of people trying to defend him. Then we got Jen Psaki's infamous clip. If you haven't seen it already, it's so tasty. But then afterward, we have clip after clip after clip after clip of people on the Biden team saying, yeah, this is getting really, really bad. All of this coming on the first weekend after his anniversary of being inaugurated. Check out this clip from CNN. This is a WAPO writer trying to deflect a bunch of the stories that we have been bringing you to for 2 years now, and also a year since the Biden administration took office. Check this clip out of her downplaying this. Also, click the little like button, click the little share button. It's free. It helps us out a ton to get this to more people. So check this out.
A lot of the fear-mongering is about the things that are not actually mortal threats, and then there's ignoring the things that are mortal threats. You know, COVID isn't real and climate change isn't real. I would argue that, to me anyway, those things are a little bit scarier, or have been scarier at various points in the past couple of years. Right. And instead, it's about the immigrant hordes and the senile president and critical race theory brainwashing your kids and things that are, you know, if not just exaggerated, invented out of whole cloth.
Mm-hmm. Catherine and Oliver, thank you both.
So that was Catherine. She's the Washington Post writer on Brian Stelter's show called Reliable Sources, saying that pretty much everything that the quote-unquote right or conservatives, I'm not a big fan of labels, but that's what they like to call people, the people that have been checking the government and saying, hey, this is a problem. Is anybody seeing this? What's going on? Oh, that's kind of just nothing. The border at the southern border, the crisis there, that isn't anything. Nothing to worry about there. That's totally fine. The president's senility, that's totally fine too. We don't need to talk about that. It's overblown in your right-wing media. Except for she was an outlier over the weekend. I've got a clip from Jen Psaki that I want to play that you probably have seen on the internet already. But she also was the only other one that I saw this weekend saying, yeah, things are fine. We're totally fine. The thing is, Jen Psaki gets paid to say things are fine. That WAPO writer, I'm not entirely sure what she's paid to do other than try to downplay serious things that are happening in the United States and pass them off. But check out this clip from Psaki on The View. This is, again, Jen Psaki on The View talking about the president's voting bill. Actually, you know what? The question that they asked her was, how are people supposed to react? People are seeing prices go up. COVID numbers are through the roof again. Personally, I don't care. Thankfully, the Omicron variant has been pretty decent when it comes to not killing people. That's great. But anyways, they were asking all about that. Look at all of this crazy stuff is going on in the country. What should we do? And this is what the press secretary of the White House had to say.
My advice to everyone out there who's frustrated, sad, angry, pissed off, feel those emotions, go to a kickboxing class, have a margarita, do whatever you need to do this weekend, and then wake up on Monday morning, we got to keep fighting. And what that means, Lindsay, is we have to keep talking to members about federal legislation. That's essential. That's something that can be permanent, that can make sure people's rights are protected. But we also need to make sure people are educated in states across the country about what their rights are, how they can vote, when they can vote.
Yeah, so there's that from the press secretary of the White House. If you're frustrated, just go take a kickboxing class. Have a margarita. Probably not at the same time. I think you'd probably run into some issues there. Kickboxing margarita class. Let's say a martini. I'm going to hold a martini here. Ah! I don't know. But that's how ridiculous. This is the only response I have, acting ridiculous to the ridiculous comments made by the White House press secretary. But look, the last two clips of that Washington Post writer and then also the press secretary, Jen Psaki, were clips on an island. Every other clip, Bill Maher's show, pretty much all of your main CNN shows, Anderson Cooper had some panelists on that we've got a clip to play later on. Chuck Todd on, does he host Meet the Press anymore? Anyways, on Meet the Press, people were going nuts. Media people who have been pro Joe Biden for the longest time were saying this is crazy. Now, here's the thing. Don't drop off because you want to see these clips. I do have to run an ad really quick, but it's a good ad and you need to see it. You need to protect your property. You need to protect your money. You need to protect everything you have against inflation. And the best way that you can do that is go to our friends at Birch Gold and figure out how to get a get a full pamphlet by texting JOBOB to 989898. Get everything you need to know about becoming an investor in gold. Why is that? Because gold has held value since the dawn of the monetary system. Gold has been the best holder of value. So you need to protect your savings. You need to protect everything that you have against the government's will to sabotage the value of the dollar by way of inflation. So text JOBOB to 989898, Jobob to 989898. Our friends at Birch Gold will send you everything you need to know about investing in gold. They are A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. You can take your existing IRA, existing 401k, roll it into a gold-backed IRA. That's what you need to do. Protect yourself against inflation. Without further ado, get to this. This is from Face the Nation over the weekend. Sorry about that. This is Face the Nation over the weekend. This clip is just so juicy and good. They've been polling people since the beginning of the Biden administration. They've been keeping in touch with people via Zoom. And those people have been giving their reactions to things that are happening in the Biden administration. This was a question, again, asked on Face the Nation over the weekend of those 6 panelists that they've been talking to for the last year since the Biden administration has taken office. This clip is so much fun. If you haven't already, click the little like button, click the little share button, because people need to see this. And obviously it helps us stay on the air, keep doing what we're doing. So if you wouldn't mind, just click the little like button, click the little share button. Your liberal friends need to see this because it is unraveling for the administration currently in the White House. Watch this clip.
During the course of the pandemic, we've been listening to Americans through Zoom to get their thoughts on COVID, the economy, and how the government is handling it all. On Friday, we checked back in with 6 of them. Who feels like we are in a better place now than we were a year ago? Show of hands. No one believes we're in a better spot now.
So that is that. Like she said, they've been keeping in touch with people. And here are 6 people that we've been keeping in touch with constantly. And here's the thing. It's Face the Nation. It's not like those 6 people are like ultra right-wing conservatives. No, those are just everyday Americans, probably with a lefty bias, because that helps their narrative. But none of them thought that the Biden administration had us in a better place. And clearly, it's pretty clear to see you've got inflation going through the roof. Taxes in places that you live are going up. Gas prices are up. Grocery prices are up. Energy costs are up. Pretty much everything is going up. The Biden administration has done nothing to control the southern border. The president, every time he gets on TV, he slips up and loses words. In what way would it actually be better? Not to mention, COVID deaths are at the highest point they've ever been. There's a lot of different nuances there. We won't get into that. Maybe we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But more people have died of COVID under Joe Biden than they did under President Trump. So there's that to say. But that's what's coming out of your lefty media. Here's another clip from Chuck Todd on NBC talking about the polling that they're doing. This is also very interesting. Again, Chuck Todd, not a conservative commentator, but it's gotten so bad that they have to start airing clips like this. Watch this.
President Biden's news conference on Wednesday was designed to kick off a second-year reset of his presidency. Recapture his political identity, if you will. But our new NBC News poll suggests Mr. Biden does need a reset because he's lost his identity a bit. He's no longer seen as competent and effective. He's no longer seen as a good commander-in-chief, or perhaps most damaging, as easygoing and likable. In fact, just 5% of adults say Mr. Biden has performed better than expected as president. One of the many lowest firsts and fewests in our poll. As we kick off our Meet the Midterms coverage heading into November, the NBC News political unit developed what we're calling a midterm meter. It's based on previous election cycles. It's basically 3 poll numbers you need to know best. I'm going to start with perhaps the most important number to understand the direction of the midterms. It's job approval here. The president's job approval rating sitting at 43%. If you look at history shows that kind of presidential approval rating leads to a shellacking for the party in power. How about the mood of the nation? Well, let me show you this. Right now, our wrong track, nation's on the wrong track number, sitting at 72%. Second poll in a row where we've been over 70%. This is only the third time in our polls history over 30 years where we've had 2 tracks that were that off. That again would put you in shellacking territory for the party in power.
So again, Chuck Todd mostly talking about politics and how the Democrats are going to fare in the upcoming 2022 midterms. In his opinion, is not good. You saw at the beginning of that clip. Here's the thing. I think I've changed course here. When Joe Biden ran for office, he said, I'm going to unite the country. And honestly, that's what he has done. Not in the way that he has wanted to, but he has united the entire country against his administration. You saw that beginning clip. 5% of Americans think that he's doing a better job than expected, which would mean that 95% of Americans don't think he's doing better than expected. If there's any uniting force in the country, it's President Biden and his ability to unite people against him. That is absolutely bonkers. Again, those polls coming out from an NBC poll. Oh, but then he was talking about the midterms. So, okay, not to get into like super political midterms stuff, but the Democrats were already going to get smacked in the 2022 midterms. And this is trying to explain why things are happening the way they are. Why Joe Biden is taking such a partisan stance on pretty much everything, and why Democrats are trying to push through crazy stuff because they know they are going to lose the House by a lot in the midterms. I think it was like 17 House Congress people who are Democrats are not seeking another term. They're just retiring. They're saying, I'm done with this. I'm not putting up with this anymore. They are going to lose hard. That was before all of these polling numbers. Generally speaking, the party in power takes it in the pants in the midterms. It's happened pretty much every single election. Obama's first term, 2010, Democrats took it in the pants. 2014, they also took it in the pants when Trump's first election or first term in office. 2018, Republicans took it in the pants. That's just what happens. The sitting party, the party who controls the executive branch, generally loses a lot of seats in Congress in their first midterm. So that was already set to happen, just historically speaking, from a poll number speaking. But now with Biden's approval rating as low as it is, the numbers continue to go down in terms of how many seats they're going to have. And now Democrats, given the seats, also have a pretty good chance of losing the Senate as well. And if they lose the House and they lose the Senate, then nothing gets done. That is what you need to know to explain why Joe Biden has been so hyper-partisan, probably. Maybe some of it comes from the old senility factor, the fact that he probably doesn't know what he's doing all of the time. But at the same time, Democrats have been pushing so hard for this super woke, super left ideology because they know come 2023, when Congress people in the Senate are inaugurated into their position or sworn into their positions, they ain't gonna be able to do nothing. So there's that. That's why that's all getting messed up. The last clip I wanted to play today is from CNN. A guy named Scott Jennings on CNN wrote an article that Anderson Cooper was asking him about. Let me get to this first. Okay, first of all, if you have a minute, just bear with me a minute. I got to do an ad. But this clip coming up on the other side is a fantastic representation of what pretty much everybody is thinking, again, coming from CNN. You don't want to miss that. But before that, I got to tell you about becoming an investor in gold. Inflation is going through the roof. Gas prices are up. Everything is going up constantly. Inflation rose at 7% last year. That is a 40-year high. You may be asking, that sucks, but what do I do about it? Well, there's the best way that you can hedge against inflation, and that is investing in gold. You might be thinking, I don't know how to invest in gold. Do I just get a truck? Do I back it up to my backyard, dig a hole, put the gold in the hole, and then now I've invested in gold? Yeah, you can do that, and our friends at Birch Gold can help you do that. But also, the more traditional retirement funds that you have, an IRA, a 401k, can also be rolled into an IRA backed by gold, the best value keeper, especially when inflation is at its as high as it is. So how do you learn how to do that? You can text JOBOB to 989898, Jobob to 989898, and our friends at Birch Gold will send you an info kit of everything you need to know to invest in gold and protect your savings. Birch Gold has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and they can teach you everything you need to know to protect your savings against the government sabotaging the value of the US dollar. So text JOBOB to 989898. Think of this not as an advertisement, but as a friend to a friend saying you should do this. I'm invested in gold, probably more than my wife would want to know, but we have a lot of gold, physical gold, and also other forms of gold. So you need to do it today to protect your savings. JOBOB to 989898. Without further ado, apparently, based CNN is a thing. This is Scott Jennings on Anderson Cooper's show. Actually, I'm not sure if it was Anderson Cooper's show, but Anderson Cooper is sitting on the show asking this guy, hey, what's happening? He wrote a piece about the Biden administration a couple days ago, and check this out. This is, again, coming from CNN. I'm surprised they didn't cut his mic off, but they didn't. It was fine. If you haven't already, before I play this clip, hit the little like button, hit the little share button. It really helps us out, keeps us on the air, keeps us doing what we're doing. Really, really appreciate it. So without further ado, here we go.
Scott, I read a piece that you just wrote, essentially saying this is Joe Biden doing what Joe Biden does.
Yeah, well, I never imagined how quickly this would all unfold. The person they sold on the campaign, the nice old, moderate grandpa who just wanted to help everybody get along and compromise, is not what we got over the last year. He has no mandate really to do much of anything. It's amazing that he got a couple of things done when the mandate was really pretty clear. 50-50 Senate, a near 50-50 House, and a pretty close presidential election. The mandate was simply replace Donald Trump and don't do anything drastic or stupid. And everything about this agenda is extremely drastic. And he's been angrier than I think people expected. He's been more divisive. He's been more partisan. You look at the issues. We built 5 years of coverage on Trump out of Russia, COVID, and democracy. The president at his press conference invites Russia to invade the Ukraine. We got more deaths under Biden than Trump. And now we have the president and vice president and leading Democrats question the legitimacy of the 2022 election. Are we any better off on these three issues that we crucified Trump over? I think he has a lot of political problems, and an AP poll came out this morning. Only 28% of Americans want the sitting president to run for re-election, and fewer than half of Democrats. This is a disaster.
You saw at the end of that clip, only 28% of people want the sitting president to run for office again. I go back to my point that I made earlier. President Biden is doing his best to unite the people against him, which is, again, this is interesting. Again, this is a Scott Jennings on CNN. I'm surprised nobody pulled his microphone, but saying, look, this guy ran on the, don't do much, just kind of hang out in there, which is fine by me. If there is I don't care who's in office. I don't care what party they are. If somebody runs on the if somebody runs on the stumps saying, this is what we're going to do, it is nothing, I'm all for that. If that is their issues-based political maneuvering, I can't think of the words here right now this morning. It's been an early morning. But if somebody runs on that platform of, hey, I'm going to get into the White House and do nothing, I don't care what party they are, go for it. Yes. What if you're going to do nothing from the White House and the federal government is going to do nothing? Fan-freaking-tastic. And that's kind of what people thought Joe Biden was going to do. Hey, you're not Trump, so we like you. And then all of a sudden, he gets elected and turns into freaking Bernie Sanders and goes super woke on pretty much everybody, and even moderate Democrats who Joe Biden was for the last 50 years. We're like, yeah, dude, we can't do this. This is crazy. But again, Joe Biden's poll numbers are dismal, and 28% of Americans don't think he should run again for a second term. That is absolutely bonkers. I'm sorry, I'm reading some of these comments. Valinda says, buy gold for me, Jobob. You should buy gold. If you haven't already, check out our friends at Birch Gold. Let me see. No question about it. Yeah, there's not many I can bring on here that I know these comments fly by so fast. So sorry, I used to read a lot more of them when we had less people watching. Oh, this is interesting. How does this guy get 700 viewers? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Laters. Thank you, David, for tuning into a show that clearly you don't agree with. It's one person's personal opinion. But we have 700 viewers or more than that most of the time because I am hilarious and I do know what I'm talking about. My mom even says so. That's going to do it for us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. I believe we're going earlier again tomorrow from a hotel in Phoenix. Got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. I'll be on the TPUSA couch today. If you watch that show, I think it's at 2:30 Pacific time, 5:30 Eastern time. That's a heck of a time. Love making jokes about the news there. There's some clips that I want to get to tomorrow, too, just so you are aware of what's going on. There was a Bill Maher clip. Ari Weiss was on Bill Maher's show that I want to talk about that tomorrow. That'll be great. And I'm sure there's going to be much more stuff that happens today as the Biden administration continues to, or at least tries to backpedal as hard as they can to avoid the onslaught from their own media. We'll see you back here tomorrow. If you haven't already followed me on Instagram, social media platforms, any of that stuff, go ahead and do that. Just type in JOBOB to pretty much any platform. You'll be able to find me. Last time I'm going to say this. So we'll see you tomorrow. God bless America.